What is up, guys? This is Godzilla Suplex, and welcome to today's episodes. I'll be giving my official wish list for UFC 4 that is coming out in just a month. Before I do that, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time I make a video. Guys, let's get this because this game, it just got revealed and I'm just already so hyped up for it. It got leaked a week before. And it's just so glad to know that there's a UFC game coming, to just know that there's roster updates coming for this game, and it is only gonna be out in just a month. That is kind of unbelievable to me. But what do I want to see in this game? What is my official wish list to make this guaranteed the best MMA game ever made? Let's start off with some of the confirmed features. We know we have the cage fighting in the game. That's great. But what would take that to the next level is if not only you could customize the backyard or the different cages, but other people online can watch you fight in the backyard, literally spectate and vote who they think is going to win the fight. That would be a great, awesome multiplayer online feature to really utilize the backyard cages or even just the regular cages. And maybe there's a voting system where the more stuff you get predicted right, the higher you go in the system. And not only that, they could extend the idea to judging. You know what I'm saying? The NPCs, they do a lot of the judging, but what if players judged other player matches? That'd be a great way to, sort of see the meta of the game, people getting their honest opinions, who they think won. It's a fun interactive experience that I think that a lot of gamers would like. Now, would there be some issues? Maybe, but it's funner to try things like this, especially now that we are officially confirmed to know that Ultimate Team is not coming back, and instead they'll be allocating the resources to other modes to make a better quality game. And with that, one of the things I would love to see them bring over is fight leagues, where you and your friends can be in a certain league, whether it's competitive, whether it's between you and your friends, private, that there could be a champion, there's a ranking between everybody below them. You could put restrictions on who has a fighter, maybe it goes in seasons, you have to reestablish the champion, just different things that you can do with these type of fight league lobbies. And I would love to see it, having in different leagues with my different friends. That would just be a great mode to just have in the game. And another thing that would be great to have is a King of the Hill system. Now, in fighting games, you would be familiar with this mode in Mortal Kombat 11. It's literally amazing. You literally go into a lobby, all people are there, and you're just fighting random people to be champion, and everybody's taking turns fighting the person that's up top of the hill. If they can literally put that into this game is made for a mode like that. And to see in Mortal Kombat and to not see UFC just disheartens me, because the amount of times I've been in a party with 10, 12 people, it just from my friends list alone, and us talking trash to see who's the best, like that is something that you just cannot get in other games. Like if they had in this game, it would make it so much replayable and make people want to buy it just to have that great experience. So after that, online tournaments, of course, which are confirmed to be coming, but I don't know in what form. Like some of them are saying with the my player characters, but I just want to see tournaments just period, for the fact that, hey, you play a tournament, you continue to lose health, and it just really shows which skilled players you're dealing with as far as you go on, lose health, lose stamina, and see who can outlast everybody to win that tournament. But those are critical modes I think that they could reallocate resources to. Of course, bringing back a lot of the great modes like stand and bang, knockout mode, and custom fights. It would just be really great to see all those come back and be revamped, especially custom fights. And in custom fights, I think it should be general to a certain degree, but you should be able to change things around with specific fighters to make better fight scenarios. And that really brings me to another point. In every other sports game has this thing except UFC, which frustrates me to no end, and that is a stat changer system for offline play. If I feel like somebody's stats are overpowered in my own personal offline modes, I should be able to change them 100%. Even WWE allows you to change the fighter's stats, and it's not even real fighting, it's freaking fake wrestling. But we can't get a stat changer in the UFC game. Don't tell me it's not possible, because they show the stats to you literally on the screen. Just change the perks, change the stat. It's something so simple to implement, but it would just, for people like me that play the game, that have their own opinions about whose ratings or what, it would just be great to me that I could change my fighter stats. Even if it's a DLC that I had to purchase separately, I would definitely buy it. I just hope it's a feature in the game, point blank, period. So then let's come to some of the core stuff involving the gameplay. First, let's start off with the ground system. It's been heavily contested in the UFC 3 community, whether the ground game is overpowered, whether it's underpowered, or whether it's just balanced. And my personal take is that it needs to be expanded, because the current set of takedowns that we have now, and they added more in the update, which only shows you how limited it was at launch. Because there is only certain ways to take people down, they have to strengthen the ones like the ankle pick, so that it can be a viable option to get people to the ground, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get anybody to the ground hardly ever. So making more transitions to the ground, especially off of knockdowns, because that's the most, like, because you'll be stuck in an animation, right? And you will literally not be able to take this person down. And there should be a counter to that where you can stop it if you time it at the right time, which all comes down to them making more transitions so everything can be properly balanced. And on top of that, then that comes to the hit detection of fixes, because hit detection in UFC 3 is 80% great, but I feel like mechanically you should be able to hit people more, and that comes from the jumping mechanic. Like, sometimes, most of the time, the physics works correct, but you can do some impossible jump forwards where the physics don't stay consistent. They come more arcadey. So I think they need to refine that where it hits people more, and I'd rather feel it and get hit rather than to float off and then get countered, so it's all about making the striking more consistent than it is now, because now it feels a little bit more random. I know it's a stat-based game, but I think they need to, at the most, redesign the hit functions, and at the smallest, just make it across the board, probably by like 3%, 5%, make the hits more accurate, 5% more accurate. I think that would be a great just thing to just pull up, so fights are more technical instead of just being randomized. So I think that's how you fix the striking in that respect. And then finally, we're going to talk about the perks, because a lot of people aren't talking about, but here's the problem with the perks. I love the perks. They are literally awesome, but you don't know when they're being compounded unless you really know the lore of this game. The perks, whenever a perk takes into effect, right, you should be notified on the screen when a perk takes effect, because a lot of knockdowns and stuff, you won't know how it happened. It'll be like, oh, that was inconsistent. How did I get knocked down by that? And when you think about it later, it's like, oh, because this and this perk, the counter perk, which every time he hits you comes into effect, then next thing you know, you throw a strike back, and then another perk comes into effect with the power. So then you don't really know, like, when is this stuff happening. It's like having an RPG mechanic, but they don't notify you, so you have the right information to counteract with. So every time your perk activates, it should tell you on the side, this perk is activated. Have like a little badge on the side that comes in the view of the screen and lights up whenever a perk is activated. It only has to show what the perk is, and you'll know, oh, wait a second, okay, he has grinder on the ground, okay, I can't do this and this and that. But it mostly will come into effect for striking, because striking is where it's critical. Because if you have power puncher, and then on top of that, then you have counter punch level 5, and then on top of that you have strike combination, you'll be getting hit with combinations that don't hurt you in the middle, but then you get countered slightly by a dip, then it hits you. So that's a real big problem. And also, the counter system, the head movement, needs to be refined, because, okay, it needs to be more technical and less randomized. And that's what I was saying about, the striking system. Maybe they should just up the accuracy rate by like 5%. But with that up rate and accuracy, they should make it more technical and not randomized. When I duck a punch, in a right way, it should just automatically dip below them. I think there should be no stats that dictate that. It should dictate maybe the speed of it in some other cases, but I think that's just a fundamental game level thing that should be universal throughout all the characters. And the perks should make it where it levels out between different fighters, but the mechanic itself should just be automatic. It should not be stats based around that, because dodging is such a critical part of this game. But guys, if UFC 4 does all these things, I think it will be by far the best MMA fighting game ever created in UFC history, and maybe even combat fighting sports history, to be honest, even including the WWE games. But guys, this has been the best Gojira and UFC 4 content. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, also the notification bell, so you get my other videos covering UFC 4. See y'all next time.